Good evening. Happy Monday to you all. Hope you are well. Hope you've had a good start to the week. Gosh, what an amazing day today. I know I talk about the weather a lot, but today was stunning. So we had such a beautiful day. So yeah, I hope you did wherever you were today. And welcome. So very excited about tonight, as I normally am on Mondays. It's such a nice start to the week, just to have inspiring people to chat to, and just have a topic and a theme that we can really bounce around. So last week, I hope you had a chance to catch Jackie's chat on Monday. So we talked about how to manage going back into the world again. How do we manage anxiety, and how can we do that with confidence? So we had lots of tools and techniques for managing anxiety, but I want to kind of follow on from that, and I've got the lovely Fiona Kearns, I hope I've pronounced that correct, Fiona, who will be joining us very, very shortly, in a couple of minutes. And Fiona, I've met Fiona a few months ago now, and I was so impressed with her kind of experience. She's really good fun, passionate about helping women, and just really kind of knows her stuff. And I feel very confident around her. So Fiona is a confidence coach as well, and works a lot with women, particularly around imposter syndrome, and just helping them to be more visible, and to really kind of be their best selves. So I think she will be perfect for us tonight. So I'm really, really looking forward to having her on shortly. I know personally over the last year, my confidence has kind of gone up and down, what with so many changes, being like pushing ourselves out there with tech, and just living in this kind of roller coaster year really, and it just does impact your confidence. And how do you be visible, and how do you be confident when there's so much going on around you? So I'm looking forward to speaking to Fiona and getting some tips. So hi Lena, hi Kat, lovely to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. Thank you for joining. So let's see if we can bring Fiona on, and I'm hoping tech will be kind to us. And here we go. Fiona, can you hear me? Okay, here she comes. Hello.
Hello.
Lovely to see you.
Oh, it's fantastic to be here, Rebecca. Thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm all excited.
Oh, brilliant. I'm so pleased. That's the right thing to say. And can I ask, did you get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine today? Or did you have sunshine where you were?
Not that much sunshine. It was nicer in the late afternoon, but my husband from this morning was saying it's going to be really exciting because the news did say it was going to be really warm today. But I think I'm more hopeful for tomorrow. Today was nice, but tomorrow I'm really hoping for that.
Fingers crossed, I know. The things that we get excited about, they
We
are
have to take
important.
pleasure where we can.
Absolutely, yeah, they're good for the soul, aren't they? So anyway, so I've got some questions I want to pick your brains on tonight. So, and if anyone has got any questions they want to, please pop them into the chat, and we'll ask Fiona. We'll get her thoughts and advice and tips on confidence. I think that's our overall theme for tonight, and I know that is your speciality. So,
Yes, yes.
well, I was saying we've had quite a sort of turbulent time with so many changes. We've been at home a lot, not had that kind of connection with people, and I don't know about you, but I know I've gone through, right, even the last couple of weeks, gone through some real dips of, God, can I do this? What's going on, and how do I put myself out, to the world again? So I just wondered, from your kind of experience, what do you think are some of the challenges we're having to deal with at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's those challenges you're talking about. It's that going back out in the world again, that I think we're kind of in our little bubble. I certainly feel like I'm in my little bubble, and I don't leave the house for much. I suppose like most of the country at this stage. But there's something very comforting about that. It's like a little hug, and I'm all protected and I'm all safe. But if I even think about going out to meet clients, or going to networking groups, or just meeting other people, we've kind of not thought about that in a while. So, we'll be thinking of all sorts of things like, are we up to the job still? Would they notice I've put on a few pounds more for me? It's all these other little things when we feel like we're out of practice. And, and, and I think in some ways, because we feel our world has gotten a little bit smaller, maybe we feel that in ourselves as well. And I think we have to be a bit gentle with ourselves, is what I would say. And I know we kind of often say, we need to kick up the bum to do something. And sort of that's true. But I think we probably just need to go easy on ourselves. And I don't say that lightly, because honestly, I am the worst for giving out to myself as well. So I have to counsel myself on this as well, just to be a little bit kinder and a bit more compassionate, because that giving out to yourself actually is just, it's not useful. It doesn't actually get you where you want to go. It just makes you feel bad. And that's pointless in terms of what we want to do. You want to build your confidence. The last
Yeah.
thing you want to do is somebody telling you you're rubbish.
Well, when you've got that internal dialogue going on as well, it's stressful, isn't it? Because you spend so much time. We're spending so much time with ourselves, aren't we? The last year, so we've got so used to that internal dialogue, and it really knocks your confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really can. And you know what I miss as well, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this regard, but I miss that popping to the tea station or popping out for coffee, bumping into somebody, and just having those quick chats that I'm probably not going to pick up the phone and phone somebody for, because maybe I don't feel I'm pally enough with them to do it. But the way you just pass somebody, you've got 30 seconds, a minute chat in the kitchen while you make your cup of tea and you have a bit of a giggle, and you go on your way. And it's that kind of little light relief that you get that you're not getting now. I mean, listen, the laughter facilitator, that's the bit. I feel it in my day. I'm missing those little bits of laughter that you get by just having those like micro conversations. So we miss all those things. And you're so right about that voice in your head. It really can put the pressure on. So that's a tricky one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, you're right. It is those moments that you just don't realize it. It's almost like what we had before. You kind of didn't realize what we had before. Those little kind of micro connections during the day have pretty much gone. And I do find if I call someone just to say hi, or just for that connection, you feel like you're interfering with their day, so you don't tend to. So it's like, I don't know, what kind of impact do you think that has, just out of interest, from a confidence point of view, just not having
Uh,
those connections
mm,
during the day?
I think we just get into a pattern of doing it that's not, it allows us more space to think about ourselves and what's going on, and also get into what we think the other person is thinking as well. Is Rebecca thinking this about me at the moment? But if I had a conversation with you, I wouldn't be thinking that. Perhaps in the beginning I might be, but then I get into it, and if you're indicating that you like me and you're smiling like you are now, I'm getting a different, level of feedback. But I think when we're by ourselves, we tend to get in on ourselves a bit more. And if you've got that inner critic in your head, then that's not the most comfortable or pleasant place to be.
No, no, that's very true. Do you have any kind of tips on how to? Oh, I've lost you, Fiona. Any tips, if you can hear me, on how you can kind of work with that imposter syndrome? Oh, hello.
I
I don't
lost
know if
you
you
for
hear
a moment.
that. I just wondered, like, that voice in your head, if you're finding that you're hearing that a lot and it is undermining your confidence, are there kind of any tips on that you would, I don't know, share with your clients or people, just to help us
Yeah.
on how to
Yeah.
befriend it a little bit or silence it.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Befriend it.
Befriend,
Yes.
okay, right words.
No, that's so good. I'll tell you why. The thing about it is that, when we say things like, we want to crush the inner critic, it's like the inner critic is a part of us that's actually just trying to protect us. Like it comes from a good place, maybe a place
Mm.
that we maybe don't need or find useful anymore, but it's there for a reason. It's there to protect us. And if you fight with it, it's probably going to get louder. Yeah, it fights back because you're putting pressure on it, and it is, after all, trying to protect you. So of course it's going to fight harder. But so for me, it's about, yes, it's a little bit speaking to the inner critic if you don't find that a bit too woo, and saying, thanks, appreciate you trying to help me, and I understand that. I've got this. I've got this. And work out what it's saying to you. What are the things it's saying? You're not clever enough. You can't really do this. Who do you think you are to be doing this? They're going to say this. They're going to say that. They're going to say the other. And deal with those a little bit. But it is about being kind to that inner critic, but also not allowing it to rule you either. So just saying, thanks very much, I appreciate that, and I know you're trying to protect me, but this is something I want to do, and kind of deal with those challenges are the things that it's saying. And a link to the imposter syndrome piece is, well, how do you conquer, but sort of manage it is a better way of saying it. How do you manage your imposter syndrome? And we've probably read lots and lots about imposter syndrome over the years. It's not new. A very high number of people experience imposter syndrome, male and female. It's one of those things out there. We're afraid that we're going to get found out. Somebody's going to pop up and say, Fiona, I know you're rubbish. You've been hiding it all these years, and now I have proof. Somebody's going to find out that it was luck that got you all your success to date. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. But when we're in those vulnerable moments in particular, we actually feel that that's true. Me too. This is not like, Fiona, I'm all perfect and I never have experienced imposter syndrome in my life. Absolutely not. Of course I do. But I do have to get over it, or I can't do the things I want to do, and I can't help my clients. And that's really important to me, because I feel like I'm really lucky in my business that I get to help really impressive people. And that does feel like luck to me as I say it. I feel properly lucky that I get to work with these impressive women. But the thing about it is, they don't realize how impressive they are, and that drives me crackers a lot of the time, because I just want to tell them, I want to fix it for them. Like, that's Fiona. I want to just go in, figure it all out. Ta-da! We know it doesn't work like that. But I do help people understand what they're doing, call out the good stuff. And I think we have to do that for ourselves as well. We have to get the validation that we often look for in other people from ourselves. And that's hard, and it takes a bit of practice. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, the first thing to do is call it out. Oh, see that voice in your head saying that? That's imposter syndrome, which is linked to procrastination, which is linked to perfectionism. I can't finish this because it's not perfect, and all of that. All those things that we say, or I wait till the last minute because I work under pressure. That is like really me down to the ground. So all the things that we do, but what they actually serve to do is kind of distance ourselves from a good result. So I only got a good result because, I put the effort in at the end, and that's just how I operate. Or I only got a good result because I worked crazy hours. And we kind of dissociate from that. So as well as calling it out, it's also acknowledging and owning the things you've done. Good and bad, by the way. So it's, that project went a bit pear-shaped. We often don't want to say that maybe we had we were kind of part of that, because it's hard. But also for the things that we did do well, it's about saying, I did that. I did really good on that piece. So it's all of that as well, and then building up the evidence. So it's almost like with your inner critic, it's saying, thank you very much, and I appreciate that, and I know you're trying to protect me. I've got this now, thank you very much. And then for yourself to go, here's the evidence. The evidence is all my testimonials. The evidence is all the projects or little things that I've done to say, actually, yeah, I hear what you're saying, inner critic, but I've also got all these things that I've done as well. So I'm kind of building it up. And then when you have the real rotten days where you're having, people like to call them wobbles now, which I actually like. When you have one of those wobbles, I feel like crap and wonder what on earth I'm doing. And, why don't you just pack it all in and go do something else? And then you read the evidence, the book of all the things that you've done well, and you think, maybe I'm not so rubbish after all. I helped those people, I did those things, I feel good about all those things. So it's like, there's no silver bullet. It's not going to be like, buy my book and it'll fix it, or do this, it'll fix it. It's a work in progress that you have to keep doing it. But what I will say is, a number of people I work with will come to me because they've lost their confidence. So they would feel like, I used to be very confident. Like, I used to be like, nothing could stop me. I was like, nothing would faze me. I would do anything, no problem. Yeah, and the sky's the limit. But then they feel like they've become a smaller version of themselves. And honestly, the great thing about that, because I think what's great about that, but the great thing about that is, do you know what? If you've lost your confidence, you can gain your confidence. You can regain your confidence, because confidence in so many ways is actually just skill building and capability, and just gradually building up that feeling in yourself. But you do it through skills and capability and experience and all that stuff. It's not, it's not buy something, or those things, sure, shopping can help. I'm partial to that myself, but it is something that can be rebuilt as well. So if you feel like you've lost your confidence, you can rebuild it.
That's so reassuring. I love that, thank you. But I think just what you were saying about the kind of inner critic, just how I really love that idea of befriending your inner critic, and yeah, just sort of having that conversation and building up evidence like you described. Would you say actually saying it out loud helps, or what you were talking about, is that sort of a conversation you're having in your head? Or I'm just curious, does it help speaking, sort of having that conversation out loud, or writing it down, or?
I honestly, I do. I say it in my head, I speak it out loud, and I write stuff down. I write my wins down. So I have a sheet. I'm looking over there because it's up on my wall. It's a bit old school, but I actually print out a sheet that I kind of write down my little wins. Now, some of them are, of course I put down big things on the sheet as well. But I'll also be, if it's something I've been putting off for weeks and I finally get around to doing it, I'll put it up on that sheet and then I'll do it. And honestly, it's really simple, but it really does work wonders. And I'm keeping it there now, and I'm not moving it, because I had a day last month back in February, and I was feeling pretty pants, to be honest. Yeah. And I was thinking, what did I do all week? I didn't do anything this week. This week has been a complete and utter write-off, like ridiculous. And I was really zoning in and giving out to myself. And then actually I looked at my thing and I thought, oh, actually, maybe it's not that crap after all. I did do all these things that I hadn't done in ages. The stuff doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complex. Honestly, that's a bit of paper on a wall that I have a little template, and I just fill it in manually. And it can be that simple, just little blocks here and there to help you.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. Just having that visual is, again, when you've got this voice going around your head, if you've got something that shows you how well you're doing and how good you're feeling. It can, yeah, it just helps to sort of silence a little bit the the inner voice. I've got Kat from joining us from New York, and just she was
Fabulous.
saying, great topic. I can relate. Oh God, I keep losing her message. I'm an imposter, and I love Fiona's insight. I'm going to rebuild my confidence. So
Yay!
yeah, thanks, Fiona.
Well
So thank
done,
you
Kat.
for
Yay!
sharing. Yeah, I think, I mean, I know personally, just having to manage a lot of pressures the last, or like many people really, the last year, it does just undermine your confidence, just, I mean, even doing the lives, I can literally have this, inner critic afterwards. I could have done this, could have said that, your hair wasn't right. Just like, you know what, I'm not a visible person. I like to hide behind writing. I don't like putting myself out. So this is such a big thing. But the amount of criticism I've had, personally for doing it, is just unbelievable. So it's just how yeah, and if you can overcome that and befriend that inner critic, I think that makes such a difference and actually see it for what it is and what you have achieved.
That is exactly it. And I love public speaking. So one of the things that I would always recommend, and I try and do it myself as well, is exactly for the reason that you point out, Rebecca. You prepare and you do all the good stuff and you deliver, a very good talk and you get the key message across. And everybody in the room might be thinking, oh, she nailed it. Wow, that was good. And I might come off going, I left this really good story out. I left the statistic that I thought was a real power statistic. I left it out. But yeah, and truthfully, that's probably always going to be the way. You're going to come back thinking, I could have done this, I could have done that. Wish I'd gone to the hairdresser several months ago, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, just like you're saying, you did the live, you reached out to people, you've inspired Kat to regain her confidence. I mean, it's a win.
Yeah, we sort of forget all the things that, all the pluses and all the things that are going well, and just remember the small details, don't we? But I think once you
Exactly.
overcome that and actually see it for what it is, it's a very empowering feeling. And I think it's just, I think like you mentioned about validation as well. I think we haven't got that external validation so much at the moment because we spending so much time on our own. We haven't got that connection, and so that validation, if it's not coming from us, so I think that's the thing I've definitely noticed over the last year is that's what's missing. And if you and it's hard though, isn't it, to always give yourself that. I mean, I credit to people that are able to keep, validating themselves. Mine's work in progress.
Look, I think it's probably a work in progress for everybody. But can I add this piece? It's a little bit of a segue on the validation piece as well,
Sure.
because it's really important, and I see it a lot with my clients as well. And I suppose it's probably a bit of a warning, to be fair, but do be mindful where you seek validation from. And the reason I say this is that a number of my clients, they're in very good roles, and lots of people will think, oh, she's made it, all that good stuff. But yet they seem to be at a ceiling. They can't quite get the top job. They can't get the C-suite role or the industry spot that they want, and they're struggling a bit with it. And the pattern that I've seen again and again is that they haven't kind of updated their identity in terms of who they are and being a senior leader and change their strategies. But one of the things that can happen is they're looking for validation from other people. And that can take away from the perception of you being a senior leader. So we do all need validation, and we need to be mindful of that, but we do need to be careful where we get that validation from. Because you can imagine in an organization, if you're looking to your colleagues for that validation, it can be perceived as a weakness and you're not a strong leader. And I know that's a little bit of a segue here, but just when you brought it up, because I see it a lot, I just wanted to flag that for people. We can go back on track now.
No, but actually on a positive, I think the fact that we have, flipped that on the other side, the fact we have spent so much time on our own means that we are having to, you know, look after ourselves so much more than before, and we have to boost our own confidence, and we aren't relying on other people. So actually there's a flip side to it, that actually, when we do go back into our normal workplaces and we're not having relationship with Zoom and Skype, actually I don't know, like maybe we have built this whole new level of confidence, because of what we have been through.
Well, we've definitely developed confidence on camera because here we all are, and that's a good thing. And I think, but what that shows is that, we've had to move from maybe people being a little bit reticent to do things online. Now, I did a lot of remote work beforehand anyway, but it was definitely by far more on teleconferencing. There was a little bit of video conferencing, but not loads and loads, to be fair. But it did, of course it is. And now, we're all confident in Zoom and WebEx and Teams and all of those things because, you know what, you just had to. There was no choice. It was like be incommunicado or do it. And that's great because I've certainly heard people say, so I'm a member of the Professional Speaking Association. And, I've heard some speakers where that was their whole business at the start of the pandemic, March 2020, going, well, I'm just going to sit this one out now for 3 months while all this pandemic stuff disappears. And then really quickly go, well, if I actually want to have a business, that's not really going to work for me. and so they have to go in and do it. So, but they now are confident in that. So, they went from being that face-to-face speaker, and that's how they earn their income, to being, well, I now am online, so I do hybrid and virtual presentations and so on. And actually that pays a very great future for them because they've upped their skill set, and we all have. So I think that's actually something that's probably been overlooked quite a bit. I think there's a whole article series on that, I think.
No, I think there is an upside, isn't there, of what we have been through, and we're probably not going to see the impact of that yet until things have settled down. But surely all the pluses and all the gains that we've had, and like I said, just the whole sort of appreciation of what we've had, what we did have, and what we've lost. I think it's surely got to make us stronger, going forward. And I think it's just then, well, how do you? I don't know, if you feel like your career has taken a bit of a standstill and you now been thrown back into a workplace, like how do you then, right, how can I move on and how can I move up? I have to say, speaking to you, Fiona, you make me feel confident. You do have that, I think with your well, you was public speaking, all the different experiences you've had. I do feel that sense of confidence when I speak to you. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear that. It's my pleasure. That's great feedback to get.
So do you find, I mean, if you're kind of around people as well, because I think that makes such a difference, who people that you're around and surround yourself with make you feel good. And I think I've always, especially during the pandemic, try to keep creating people that make you feel good. Is there anything kind of that you would say that you would find just, is it important to build that network of people around you? I don't know, any tips that you would give us?
Yeah, see, it's an interesting one. I mean, I think, Rebecca, you're the model in this regard, honestly, because we have never met face to face. And I find, I connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn, and that's fantastic. But the way you approach the networking in terms of like really properly connecting, really taking an interest, that for me is the model of how it's done, that proper connection piece that you would probably do face to face. So if somebody wanted to say to me, well, Fiona, what's the model for how you do this networking in the online world? Well, I would say, hey, go speak to Rebecca, because she's got it completely sussed. But I think it's a bit like, I don't know if people use this term anymore, but it used to be that, you know, find your tribe, find those people that you connect with.
Yeah.
And I know I've certainly been in a journey. I've certainly been in roles and jobs where I had to paint on the face, you know, oh, here's professional Fiona, and you know, and I'm dealing with people, and like, and I know I'm not connecting with them, and I'm doing as good a job as I can, and it's probably well more than adequate. I hope so. But if I don't feel like they're my tribe, it's hard to have properly that connection, and the connection piece is the main thing. And what I've realized over this period is, you know, I'm not on Zoom calls with my friends all the time. I'm absolutely not. But, you know, one of the calls I do love is I go on a call with my sister and two of my cousins probably every 3 or 4 weeks. And it's the best. You've got this kind of range of women who have very differing viewpoints, but the same values, if you will. And I think that's the underlying theme. And when you connect with people who have the same values, that's how I feel it's me finding my tribe, if you will, or whatever the current term is from it. But it's that group that you connect with ultimately, and they'll probably say the wrong thing. And I find this particularly with my sister. You know, she'll like say the wrong thing. It won't be the wrong thing. I just won't like it in the moment, and then I'll go off and think about it and go, maybe she has a point. but it's getting that, it's like they're like my personal board. You know, you talk to them about different things, and they'll give a viewpoint that is refreshingly honest. There's no BS, and that for me is the kind of connection we need, because a lot of the connection on social media is very surface, and it's not helpful. And where it's not helpful is where I'm looking at perhaps you, Rebecca, going, oh, look at Rebecca, she's got the perfect life and nothing ever goes wrong for her, and she's gorgeous, and oh, she's got this and that. And when we see too much of that, that just makes me look crap, because I think, oh, my life is not great, even though you might look at me and be thinking, oh, you know, she's got it all worked out. So I think that's the challenge. But when you connect with the real people, the fallible people, I think that's the key piece. We're all just doing our best, and we want to help each other do our best. That's my take on it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said. I think the thing that I've found, particularly sort of hitting my 40s, is the relationships I have tend to be much more honest. So I feel, you know, anyone that I've been meeting in the last year or two, I think you kind of meet them as you are, the person you are today. And so I feel like I've kind of, whereas in the probably pre-40s, I would have been sort of quite different in my approach, and be much more of a people pleaser. Whereas I feel now there's that sort of level of honesty, and yeah, and I think that really, and I feel as well, like, you know, it's good to have a really good connection, really, you know, have a good conversation. That to me is worth a kind of holiday to Mauritius. I wouldn't exchange it for a holiday to Mauritius, but just having that, maybe a little bit at the moment, but just having that's felt so much more powerful, particularly in the last few years, just having that real connection and that kind of, you know, heartwarming feeling that you have, because it just boosts confidence. It makes you feel good in yourself, and you feel more motivated to achieve your goals, and it just has such a knock-on effect in a way. I don't know how you find that.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I completely resonate with that, but I hadn't associated it with an age thing, but maybe it is an age thing. I just put it down to my personal development. But you know, I think there is something in that and again, poor reflection on me perhaps, but in the past where I would have, you know, been keen to connect with people who would advance my cause, so to speak, if I was thinking that way. But if I don't have a connection with them, it doesn't matter. And I find myself now thinking, you know, when I see people posting up things on LinkedIn, because I seem to spend a lot of time there at the moment, but it's the people I had a little connection with. Even sometimes I think they're imaginary. They've nothing to do with me now. They're not going to hire me, you know, just because they're not my profile or so on. But I still want to connect with them. I still want to say, hey, great job and congratulations and things like that, because I just liked them. I connected with them and thought they were like a good person, even though there's, you know, I can't help them. I don't think they can help me. You know, there's nothing in it, and I like that. And maybe I should just get off LinkedIn. But it's those things that actually mean more, and it all comes down to this connection bit. And I think the sort of the opposite of connection is protection. It's this kind of, either you're trying to connect with somebody or you're trying to protect yourself. And maybe that's where we've been. We've been in this place where we're trying to protect ourselves by being professional, by, you know, being in a certain, you know, presenting a certain face, doing all those things because we feel like we have to do that. And that's fine, and it's completely understandable. But the challenge with that, certainly I found, was the energy that I put into putting on that face was just, it was draining. You know, if you're flexing too much out of yourself, trying, where you feel like you can't let your personality come through, well, actually, your personality should be your selling point. You know, you still should be able to do your job and do a great job and have, you know, all the, you know, the skills, capabilities you would expect. I'm not disputing that. But at the end of the day, we all connect on our personality and our likes and our dislikes, and, you know, some people won't like me and that won't sit completely well with me, but I kind of understand it. But I also hope some people will really like me, and vice versa. And I think it's just coming around to that, you know, this more mature way of looking at it. I hate saying mature because I think that just means old, and clearly I am not old. So maybe it's something along those lines, but it's something to do with the connection versus protection piece, and kind of different ends of a scale.
I love that. I haven't heard of that before, and it does make sense. I can relate to both, on where I've actually tried to almost put on a front, and I think you're right as well. The amount of energy that goes into not being yourself is unbelievable, and I think that's in the past, where particularly in corporate jobs, where I've really kind of burnt out quite quickly because I'm trying to put on a front and trying to be something that I'm not. Whereas I find now, just as soon as you're being more yourself and being honest and being you, it takes less energy. So yeah, I love the connection and the protection. Thank you. That's a wonderful insight. I'm just aware, Fiona, I'm so sorry, my I haven't set my light up and I'm going darker and darker, so I'm going to get less and less visible over the next few minutes. So, but I think we have covered, we've had lots and lots of tips and insights, so that has been very, very helpful. Thank you very much for sharing those. I think around, I probably won't remember all of them, but kind of self-compassion, befriending your inner critic, and I think this sort of connection, protection, and yeah, just I love the idea of you know, just how you have that relationship with your inner critic as well, just and having something visual that we make sure that we write up and that we're looking at every day. Are there any other tips you'd like to share with your
I think you covered, honestly, they're the main ones. You know, build up the evidence, talk nicely to the inner critic. You've said them already. They don't have to be complicated, and watch out for where you get the validation. That's just an extra segue one.
Yeah, watch out the valid. I love that. No, that's good. I think, you know, and remembering as well, we've built up so much, you know, strength and resilience over the past year, and it's almost kind of using that when we go back into, you know, our everyday world again, that's not online. You know, we'll have lots of hopefully new skills and new insights about ourselves that will help us in the future. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. No, we will. We've had to face ourselves this year in a way that maybe we wouldn't have had for years to come. So that absolutely is a good thing, even if it's a little bit tough at the time.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think we've had to deal with a lot of, like I say, a lot of tough moments, but we're overcoming them all the time, and it's remembering how far we've come, and patting ourselves on the back for it as well.
Yeah.
So, Fiona, how can we, yeah, how can we find you? I mean, there's, I know, your websites, Instagram. What's the best way to follow you, your work, and what you do? Shout
The
it
best
out.
thing to do, yes, the best thing to do is go onto my website, cairnsconsultancy.com. I have a free resource, which is 3 reasons you'll never be CEO. This is me utilizing reverse psychology. But what it is it's a freebie you get via email that has 3 strategies that people are using that don't work anymore. So that idea of the validation piece and so on, it's more of that. You want to be a senior leader, update your strategies. And so it's action packed. I put loads of things into it. So go there and download it for free. cairnsconsultancy.com.
Yay, brilliant. And I'll mention it as well in my comments.
Thank
Well, thank you very much for Monday Eve, giving up your Monday 7 o'clock till 7:45, and sharing those wonderful insights with us. So it's been really helpful. And I think I hear a little voice.
There's one voice here, yes.
I'm surprised mine hasn't come in, actually.
I know.
It's doing me.
I'll just do one more minute, Pet. Perhaps this is a natural end.
It was a perfect ending. We're waiting for mine to come in as well. Okay. Well, thank you, Fiona. Really appreciate your time and your wonderful advice. And yeah, we're feeling good, feeling confident. Hello. Like, where's my mum? Where's my mummy? Well, thank you for letting us borrow her for half an hour.
Good. Oh, Rebecca, it's been great fun, and it's been good to see you. Thanks everybody who's joined us, and we'll catch up again soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for Fiona, all your tips and advice. Really, really helpful. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
I will indeed. Okay. Thanks, Rebecca. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.